Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know that drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH underscore sports. Follow me on my finance channel at AIH Finance. Okay, a few things. First of all, on Sunday night, I'm going to be doing a live stream with 1 Million Cubs Project. The dude is a huge Cubs fan like me, and he's into collecting a bunch of Cubs cards. And I believe that he wants to have 1 million Cubs cards at one point. I'd love to have him on, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. It's probably going to be just random thoughts. I know that he was on Bench Clear Media's podcast. I didn't get to see it, but I will take a look at that. But I do watch his videos from time to time, so that's why I want to have him on. Now, today is going to be maybe a different type of video, not about the hanky panky or the pumpers or etc. Maybe you could say that, oh, Pete Rose. It's going to be about Pete Rose, right? Pete Rose was involved in the hanky panky, right? Regardless of whatever you think about him, I was thinking, look, Pete Rose had over 4,000 hits, more than any other player out there. And on top of it, even if Ichiro played all of his career in the United States, I don't think he'd be able to surpass Pete Rose. He'd be very close, in my opinion, because in Japan you have to stay there 6 years. So assuming Ichiro had a couple years in the minor leagues, if he played in the US all of his life, he'd still be, in my opinion, short of Pete Rose's record. And it's quite interesting. I want to show you this card and then I'll go on. So it's a 1969 Topps number 120 CSG3, okay? It's not the best looking card out there, but at the same time, this is my first Pete Rose card. I'm going to be buying them. And I noticed this on the back just recently, or just before I started this video. It has a PWCC ID on it. So it looks like when I bought it off eBay, this was originally probably consigned for PWCC. Someone sent it in and they got it graded through CSG. And I think the card needs to be over 20 bucks. I don't remember off the top of my head. And I believe that PWCC takes ownership of the card. I know Dustin and Neo were talking about PWCC's partnership with BGS. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. So if the card doesn't sell for more than 20 bucks, then it goes in possession of PWCC. Let me know about that. I may do another video if I do more research on this. But regardless, so why did I buy a CSG3, spend not too much money, a little over 20 bucks, 23 bucks. A PSA 3 costs maybe about 33, 34 bucks. And then you have to pay shipping, so then maybe 37 bucks, whatever the price is. CSG obviously is lower than PSA. So why am I looking at, once again, guys like Pete Rose? Well, Pete Rose, first of all, is still alive. So in my opinion, that helps keeps his cards obviously low. And two, he is involved in, like I said, the hanky panky, the gambling, right? And because of that, Pete Rose, people may not want to buy some of his cards. So suppose you had scarce cards of one of the greatest players in the game, and no one's bidding on the low end cards. No one's bidding on, even though it's not his rookie card, you still see people spend an arm and a leg for some of these Jordan cards, some of these Gretzky cards, etc. But when it comes to Pete Rose, people are thinking, hey, look, this dude gambled, he's not in the Hall of Fame, etc. In my opinion, history will probably favor Pete Rose in a better light. And the reason why I'm saying this, and I'm thinking that there could potentially be a higher demand for Pete Rose cards. I do want to hear your opinion on this. The thing is that in the 1980s or 1990s, you had the steroid situation going on. I remember how Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire kept on hitting home runs like crazy in 1998. And at that time, I was just really thrilled to be a Cubs fan. You had Kerry Wood, you had slamming Sammy Sosa, you even had Rod Beck, an amazing closer. I mean, his life was cut short, but he was an interesting guy. I think he used to pitch with the San Francisco Giants, and then he came to the Cubs. And all I remember from that time frame was that Sosa kept on hitting home runs. He had 20 home runs, I believe, in July of that year. And if you just look at it, a couple years later, or 2003, fast forward to that year, Jose Canseco pretty much snitched on everyone. He said that McGwire was cheating back in the 80s with him. They were injecting steroids into each other, the Bash brothers. And it came out that Sammy Sosa was, cheating as well. I remember Chip Carey, the former announcer of the Cubs, I believe he's working with Turner now, or TBS. And he noticed that, or he made a comment in 2005 when Sosa was with the Orioles. He said that, I don't know how to say this, but Sosa got really skinny. Why did he get skinny? Well, MLB decided to cut down, or they decided to crack down on steroids. So baseball got better people started watching baseball again in the 90s after the strike. It was because of all the steroid use. And obviously, McGwire and Sosa aren't in the Hall of Fame, but at the same time, baseball looked the other way when they probably knew what was going on. And how does this tie to Pete Rose? Well, guess what? Pete Rose gambled, right? And it's not like he took steroids, from my knowledge. And he had the most hits out of anyone else. And he's out of the Hall of Fame. And since he's not in the Hall of Fame, some of his cards are not reflective of prices that probably should be assigned to his cards. And like I said, I believe there's an opportunity for Pete Rose cards. I mean, I just snagged a 1969 card, shipped to my house. I have to pay for it, but whenever I get it, it's going to be about $10. It's not a high grade, but I'm just thinking, could there be an opportunity? And I look at obviously some high-end cards, some low-end cards, and I remember pre-pandemic, I was buying these Peyton Manning cards for about maybe $20 shipped or something like that. And they were selling during the pandemic $80. What happens if you have a boom? These $15 cards, $20 cards could, quadruple, if you have a boom, right? They give funny money. The government comes in and gives more stimulus, whatever the reason is, right? Or after Pete Rose passes away, people will be like, oh man, this guy was amazing. We should have been collecting. People don't realize it until they're gone, right? And I believe that Pete Rose, once again, he was a great player, right? 4,000 hits, not that hard. Jeter didn't get to 4,000, right? So it is what it is. I'm going to be looking at more Pete Rose cards. I do believe there's an opportunity. I want to look at cards that people aren't really looking at. And, ever since I've started this channel, this is what I've been talking about. Just look where everyone else isn't looking. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be bright, but, try to forecast the demand way ahead of schedule. And then if that spike comes, you could take some profits, keep some in your collection, and then you could use it to buy other cards that have piqued your interest at that moment, right? for your collection or from a speculative point of view. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about that. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below, guys. Thank you. Bye.